Right, what's going on, guys? Now, my ones to watch for the season, I've already done Harvey Elliott, and my next one for the season is Mykhailo Mudryk. Now, Mykhailo Mudryk is quite a funny topic when it comes to Arsenal fans. We very nearly had him. Arteta really wanted him, so he must be a good player. Do you know what I mean? If Arteta wanted him badly, and all right, we got Trossard instead. And to be honest with you, a year and a half later, I think Trossard was the correct fit because what we needed then was a guy because we already have Martinelli, we already have Saka. We needed a ready-made first teamer who could be rotated and be a squad player if the player like a player like Martinelli's in form, for example, and vice versa. And we got Trossard, it was a good fit. And maybe Mudryk, clearly from his Chelsea performances, wouldn't have been as good a fit. So we got the better deal for now. But there's no denying Mudryk could still one day hit such a high level. And maybe, who knows, in a couple of years' time, if Mudryk gets to a really high level, maybe Arsenal can go back in for him. Who knows? But let's talk about him now. He's my one to watch this season because I think he's had a year and a half in English football and he was getting better in the second half of last season. He was getting better. But has it worked so far? All on the whole, no, it hasn't. Mudryk has been very underwhelming for the hype that was around him. He has been underwhelming. But I saw little signs last season, not great signs, but little signs that he was getting better. And I think if he is going to go to the next level, I think Chelsea need to really put him as their left winger and really give him the confidence. I know they got Sterling, I know they got Jackson. Make Mudryk your left winger because I saw enough last season, there's enough glimpses to tell me that Mudryk on the left could be very, very good next season. He's one of these guys. I'll tell you who he reminds me of. There's two players he reminds me of, right, in terms of his style. Not the levels he's hitting, but the style. He looks like a cross of Pavel Nedved and Thomas Rosicky. He seems like a little mix of those two. And I think if he has a career that's anything close to them two, then they've got one hell of a player, Chelsea. But right now, he's not showing anywhere near that kind of level as a player. It's just potential. It's just style. It means nothing. He's got to put up some serious numbers next season because the pressure's on him. I have to say, he's had that period now where he's had a year and a half, and he's 23 years old. Like he's not 18. He's not a kid. He's at an age now where he's got to start kicking on now. Mykhailo Mudryk. I think he's one of those where Chelsea fans are already kind of getting a bit fed up. So he's got to have a good season. And I think last season he was very unlucky as well. That in the second half of the season he was getting better and he would have had a lot more assists if Chelsea could finish their chances. So I really want to see how he gets on with Nkunku next season. Palmer will still do really well. I want to see if Chelsea can improve their finishing and actually finish off some of Mudryk's crosses because, he was by no means one of Chelsea's worst players last season, by no means, but he still wasn't great. I think the speed he has, the way he dribbles with the ball, the way he finishes, he's got all the potential to grow with Chelsea. Chelsea came sixth last season. I think he could grow with them while they get better. So if Chelsea I actually think Chelsea will come fourth next season. I know there's been a lot of controversy with Maresca and his style of football. I back Chelsea to have a good season next year, and I'll tell you why, because I saw enough in the second half of last season. All right, Pochettino was a big reason, and Pochettino shouldn't have been sacked. I get that. But their players were doing well. And Mudryk was one of those guys who was getting a little bit better, and I saw something in him. And I'm backing him to have a good season, Mudryk. I think he could do something next year. I think he's got such blistering pace. He's proved he can finish, but he's just not consistent enough. And if Chelsea can give him the confidence, give him that left-hand side, make sure that's his side next season. And with the players Chelsea have got, Caicedo done very well in the second half. Palmer was incredible. Jackson up front was doing okay towards the end. And Nkunku hasn't really had a chance. Dewsbury Hall is there. Madueke on the right. That's a good Chelsea team. I think that's enough to get him in the top four. But Mudryk has to make that left wing his own. And Chelsea need to give him that side. He needs to be the main guy on that left. Because I tell you what, there's confidence in that Chelsea team. In the second half of last season, they were getting better. And I think Mudryk on that left, he was playing more football, wasn't he? He could be the big player in Chelsea getting better. He really could. I'm backing Mudryk to have a good season. because I know we like to banter because we got Trossard and Mudryk's just gone like that. I wouldn't sleep on Mudryk at all. I think he's still got a lot of potential, but he's not at an age where he's got time. It's not like Harvey Elliott where he's got a bit of time. Mudryk has to perform next season. He has to. He has those little glimpses I saw in the second half of last season. He has to put those kind of glimpses into consistent performances. And if he does that next season, forget the banter, Mudryk could be a serious player still. And I think it's all up to him now. First of all, Maresca needs to put him in the team. And second of all, he needs to perform. He really needs to be more consistent with his performances, because I can see a player there. Honestly, I really think this guy could be a dark horse next season, but we'll have to see. It all depends. It all depends on if Chelsea can kick on from last season, because I still think in the second half of last season, Chelsea were going under the radar quite a lot, and I think Mudryk was kind of a little part of that. But we'll see. Can Mudryk be the one to watch next season, and can he prove why he was signed for so much money? The hype around this guy was massive. He's got to show it, and he's got to prove to the world why he belongs in English football and why he belongs at a club like Chelsea.